All right, I think we're all set here. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Engineering the Markets. Thank you for joining me this Monday morning. It is November 14th, 2022. And as always, my name is Jared. So, we're kind of circling back from the prior week. We want to look at some of the pretty incredible price activity that we experienced. We had a binary event that we had to kind of ascertain risk, look for opportunity both before and after, and then kind of see what this actually means for the market moving forward, along with what the option market depicted risk to be this past week and how, once again, they got it quite wrong. So, as always, if you're kind of new joining us, we often start our Monday session by looking at the SPX. We like to look at the S&P 500 index for a couple reasons to start off our week. One, it's one of the larger option traded marketplaces that's available. It's the largest option notional value product that exists currently in the marketplace. And two, it just kind of represents a lot of our key underlying market moving stocks, along with the overall sentiment of market participants. So whenever we're looking at the SPX expected move, what we're doing is we're taking the weekly option series and we're trying to derive what that particular group of participants depicts risk to be for the week. So every week we look and see how the market closed. We review the next week's expected move, kind of compare and contrast to prior weeks, and also compare some of the price activity around the expected move boundaries. Because without that context, we would not know how to act for future expirations and future boundaries. So as we look into the week, first off, last week we were pricing about a 117 expected move. You'll notice that most of the week up until CPI was fairly lackluster. We certainly had intraday volatility, but there was nothing of significance relative to our quantitative overview. And then, of course, on Thursday, we see a very significant change. Not only did the market break out technically, we saw two pivot structures kind of cleared. We had a sort of speculative lower high that was forming. And then, of course, our end of corrective trend, which did break down prior to CPI. And as we saw price activity continue to push through these levels, we probably felt a lot of participants starting to bail. You could certainly think about the opposite side of the marketplace. A bearish position would have been feeling a lot of pressure on Thursday, and if not on Friday, the continuation to 4,000, which is another interesting note from last week. We actually touched 4,000 SPX for the first time since, let's take a look back. When was the last time we were at 4,000? Last time we were here was September 13th, and we were certainly breaking down at that point away from it. So it's good to see this both from a price perspective. It's also good to understand where we are priced relative to large ranges, large distribution areas. For the most part, boxes of price activity, along with understanding the risk that can build up over time if a marketplace trades sideways. And this is usually why range breakouts and compression to expansion events are so powerful. But all that said, last week we did have a 2 standard deviation move. Essentially, the market was supposed to move, at least to the upside, about 38.87. And this is coming from a close of about 37.70. So when you think about that 116, 117 point move, and then you think about how far we actually did move, you can easily see that pretty much to the penny, we got an exact 2 standard deviation move. And it was one of the main trade ideas on Friday. A lot of traders were either holding out for ES, the futures contract for the S&P, that breached 4,000. There's actually a couple of just quick liquidity grab kind of trades as we traded through such a key psychological price. The SPX, of course, was a little bit later, pretty much near the end of the session. And while most of us are trading SPY, unfortunately, that one didn't quite get there, but I am hopeful this week we'll see that nice round 400 on the SPY once again. So what does this mean for the week ahead? Well, from a quantitative perspective, let's just look at what the market's pricing. For now, we're looking at about a 99 expected move. You can even think about 100 points, high to low. And when we closed last week at 39.92, just that slight pullback into the close, it pretty much puts our levels at about 4,100, so 40.92 to be exact, and then 38.94 or about 3,900 if you're just shifting slightly higher. These are obviously some big psychological prices. I would argue that 3,900 does carry a lot of technical significance, along with it being a massive inflection point for a couple of key periods throughout this year. This is kind of the level to beat for a lot of bulls. And when bears are able to go below it, things can start to accelerate very quickly, especially in volatility sides. The actual expansion of volatility tends to kick off around this price level. So very important price level to kind of think about in regards to a technical sense. You can also think about the next pullback in the market. And if we get anything close to that level, this might become a previous resistance turn support kind of opportunity. So let's talk about the changes that the market is going through now that we have our quantitative data. And obviously, this is going to impact most stocks on our screen. We saw the impact both Thursday and Friday. You could almost feel that things were pretty heavily correlated, but I would even say that there was a lot more risk taking in regards to what assets were rallying, along with the nature of a rally from lows. The idea that when things start to change, usually the most risky assets are some of the first to recover quite strongly, mostly because the sentiment is changing quickly. So as we kind of look at the S&P here, let's talk about some obvious levels, along with just kind of understanding the trade both today and this week. So we were able to achieve about 400 S&P. As I mentioned, we didn't quite get there, but for most of the relative products, they're pretty much at the 400 levels. And we have a significant gap up off of CPI. Now, what drove some of this price activity was both the catalyst itself. You can understand that positioning into something binary carries risk in both directions. You have people playing bearish, you have people playing bullish. One side is often right in binary events. Usually it is a market moving event to call it binary. And when you have these events, the market, especially the wrong party, has to get out of the way. So I would argue that a lot of momentum Thursday and Friday was bearish covering. And we've seen some indication that this market still was quite bearish. I brought up the fact that the skew has been at levels never seen before. This is basically all-time low skew readings. And while this can be hedged, and while there is obviously going to be some protection of these positions back to the upside, it does show a marketplace that was looking down rather than up. This can start to change, and we will be looking for some characteristics of that change, even just recovery into some kind of range bound levels that I've kept on my chart. But overall, we stepped into CPI with some of the most quote unquote bearish skew readings, aka lowest in history. I would also argue that if we're looking at some other key sentiment indicators, the put to call ratio was also showing a little bit of a lean towards the downside. Going into CPI, we were seeing slightly higher put to call readings. They were above that sort of mid-range 50-50 kind of reading. Nothing significant, no volatility spike or extreme, 1.2 to 1.4 type readings, but certainly a little bit more downside hedging, kind of protection related. You'll notice on Friday, arguable whether that should be taken into account, but Fridays tend to be rolling some of that risk, along with the fact that the downside plays were no longer relevant for the market. So we did see that both drop off all day, along with get to relative lows, some very deep put to call readings. So that was a few things coming off the market. There's also a little bit of a shift in HYG. Now, this might not look like much, especially given the entire yearly chart here, but I do want to bring up just the weekly perspective here. And, from a technical sense, this is often what can be referred to as like a stop move. You will often see engulfing patterns or things that are confirming or denying pullbacks in some way. And whenever we saw last week the market pulling in, HYG, in my opinion, tends to lead the S&Ps. It tends to be a slight leader in the indication, and it's an indication of risk as well. If we do see a little bit higher readings in corporate debt, they're often looking to take advantage of some of those aggressive yields. They recognize some of the exposure to that risk, just owning any company's debt, whether it's free cash flow positive or not, tends to carry its own risk profile. And especially if you think about this marketplace, where a lot of our short, medium, and long-term treasury products offer yields that are somewhat equivalent. You'll note here HYG is yielding about 4.5. We've seen, our 2-year and some of our even, sub 1-year products even get higher than these yield levels. And yet the marketplace is still looking to take this risk on, maybe foreseeing that some of those yields will start to decline or just stabilize as the Fed takes more action. So risk on, risk off behavior, looking at HYG as a little bit of a leader, understanding that we're still in, I would say lower territory at this point, but past couple of sessions and especially the technical setup here, you can see a similar setup here. This area is kind of what I'm expecting. Maybe just even a wave pattern here where you're looking at a 1, 2, 3 type of extension. The hope for a bull would be that this now turns into something more like this, where we get that same price activity and we're looking to expand back to some higher readings and higher levels. So we'll certainly be looking for that to confirm or deny. these next couple of weeks, but that's certainly what the chart is indicating. And then last but not least, one of the riskier elements of the market, the dollar. And if you weren't convinced that the rally had some legs based on some of these more abstract products, if you took a look at the dollar, you probably should have changed your bias, because the dollar has been one of the forces that keeps the market suppressed. Especially this year, we've seen massive acceleration to the upside. Some would argue a more parabolic style move on certain time frames. And like most things, I think once you get into consolidation, it's a period of rest, but it's also a period of decision. You'll know that we were looking at topping behavior in the dollar as early as this period. I would argue that Artie and I actually called the dollar top so far down to the session. And with that top, we were looking at the consolidation that followed, the flagging style pattern, the fact that we were returning to key swing levels. These are kind of like previous decision points where market took a pretty sharp pivot and turn in price, along with the structure here starting to break some trends, the more aggressive uptrends. Well, on Thursday and Friday, we saw this kind of finally come to a head. Dollar was sold off quite significantly to the tune of about, I want to call it 4 to 5% for the past two sessions. Yeah, about 4.2% high to low. And that's quite significant. You think about what that can do to equity prices. You think about what that can do to commodity prices. And then, last but not least, the kind of early indication we were getting from some of our precious metal products. Gold especially had significant gains over the past week, and silver, not to be forgotten, also made it to some swing highs. So lots of volatility in this area, but more noteworthy is the fact that we are seeing dollar retrace to levels that are equivalent to, we'll just kind of look at the first time we got here. I would argue the first time we got here was early July. And what I like to do about these kind of readings is not so much look at what's going on recently, but more so talk about what this means for equity pricing moving forward. You think about a market that tries to reprice itself relative to risk. And if you're looking at one risk element coming to the same prices as previous readings, well, then you can start to take a look at the market in question and ask yourself, what was it priced at during that period? In July, for example, the dollar was starting to elevate itself, starting to accelerate more to the upside. And we were staying in this compressed range. Looks like the S&P was priced at about 383, so I'll call it 385, just for simplicity. You look at a market that maybe is seeing the end of that risk, and certainly getting a lot of confirmation both technically and price-wise, and you start to review, has the climate changed during this period? Is something significantly different than what we saw whenever the same price readings were evaluated? One thing we could kind of easily say is that we are seeing at least a 2-period trend, 2 data points relative to CPI, where the marketplace only has rallied from it. We're also seeing that the inflationary readings, while not a true trend quite yet, is starting to cool from expectations. So the market is expecting one thing, getting something slightly cooler, and that speculative nature can return, even if it is to be short-lived. So these are all things that can not only kind of help you stay on the right side of the market in the moment. I know a lot of people are surprised by new rallies, new sell-offs. They try and understand, what exactly is going on and why are things so dramatic. But understand that there's a lot of shift going on outside of just the price. And if you think about the dollar as kind of one area, you compare that to volatility, which did come off over the past 2 sessions. That was a noteworthy kind of decline. Still in a very normalized contango market at this point. We've topped out for the time being. Look at VIX readings, no longer really holding any in mid-range trend, looking to possibly come back to our inflection level at about 20. And all these noteworthy risk elements really fading. Last but not least, the 10-year Treasury breaching 4%. And remember, the bond market was closed on Friday, so you're not really going to see a Friday candle. We will see that reopen today, and we'll start to get some more data. So risk can come off quickly. It kind of starts slow. You see the kind of characteristic pivot. You see possible trend changes. And then, of course, the market gets the news that it's expecting or maybe not expecting, and everything really confirms that thesis with big changes. So more or less an explanation of last week. Understanding this for the week ahead and talking through what products may be in focus. As we look at Trading Terminal, and we'll kind of just start on the economic calendar, there are some catalysts this week to stay abreast of. We do have PPI coming tomorrow. This is similar to CPI. There's a year over year, a month over month, and there is a separation of baskets of products. So they do try and separate things like food and energy. Earnings are still in focus. We do have names like Home Depot, NVIDIA on Wednesday, Walmart. If you're looking today, maybe a Tyson Food, AECOM, decent trader. So there's still some names out there. Lowe's, Home Depot and Lowe's tend to trade pretty close to each other. I want to confirm Alibaba, but I think that's correct as well. Yeah, it's Alibaba. So names that are great for market volatility. They're also some characteristic names. Don't necessarily disregard a stock like Home Depot. It might not be a titan like Amazon or Tesla, but it does represent the third largest holding in consumer discretionaries. So whether you're looking at Lowe's or Home Depot, both of which are reporting, maybe even combining their aggregate sentiment, they can move markets, similar to a stock like Tesla, which tends to be faster and carry more market cap. So definitely don't ignore those names. Another name to kind of consider would be Walmart. Once again, not necessarily of the same pedigree as Costco, Pepsi, and even Coke, just market cap weighting wise, but sentiment wise, and possibly some of the actual price movement volatility can definitely move the market. So whether you're focusing in on maybe sectors in play, and this is where I kind of shift back into the idea that the market itself might be looking at a little bit more risk moving forward. Last week we saw technology gain the most, and that is, of course, from fairly low readings. So the percentage return here is kind of coming off of a bottom, but it also shows that they might be cycling a little bit out of more defensive names. I've mentioned things like healthcare as possible defensive nature. if the market doesn't see that as a necessity, healthcare might not be the place to be. It might actually be a little bit of a laggard, albeit still a possible bullish play as we do see the rest of the market gain into that rally. So just kind of understand that we're seeing shifts. CPI from last week and then PPI this week is not to be ignored. This is not a 1 to 2 day event. This is a dramatic shift in multiple elements of the market. The prices confirm it, the trends confirm it, and ultimately where money is placed will be the final kind of straw. You know, where are people placing their bets, trying to identify those early, and then of course riding some of that momentum to catch some of that profitability. So just wanted to show that off, especially Friday. You'll note things like healthcare was actually our weakest performer compared to, you know, energy was strong, crude did lead on Friday, but we saw technology and discretionaries really kind of pick up, even though Friday wasn't necessarily the day after CPI. So last but not least, just wanted to call out a new change that occurred. This is coming directly from CBOE, so Chicago Board of Option Exchange. I think I got that right. But this is basically the governance for option series and how these are populated. They also provide some of the liquidity for it. So some notes: SPY and QQQ are two major index ETFs. They are adding weekly options. And according to this, are planned to be listed effective Monday, November 14th. So as soon as today, we should be seeing these series start to populate. We could even look at our platform to see if they've kind of loaded that up. 14, 15, 16. I'm not seeing 17 yet. That might come out as soon as the day of. Yeah, so these are going to be listed Wednesday. So what's new about this is the SPY and the Qs have never had 0 DT options available for the entire week. So if you like playing things like SPX or XSP for kind of a mini SPX 0 DTE option, if you like the SPY for some reason or the Qs, they're offering options on all weekdays. That means that we're going to see probably additional volume coming through these series. You're going to have a lot of short-term kind of like expected move type plays. Selling premium kind of becomes another focus now that you have more options to roll and manage the risk, and just ultimately another sandbox to play in. So keep that in mind. We'll probably talk through a little bit of that and how to play 0 DT and 1 DT options. There are strategies that take advantage of the unique characteristics of those, and we'll probably look at that either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. So stay tuned for that, but I wanted to keep you all aware of the actual change. I did see that this morning. So as we kind of wrap up here, keep in mind the market sentiment, the major shifts that we did see on Thursday and Friday, not just by price, but by risk and where the market kind of foresees things changing. I understand that this rally does have some power behind it. I would be looking at pullback opportunities for the time being, especially as we are still a bit deviated from our core downtrend, which I do have marked here. And the idea that we could be reaching once again for that 200 period moving average just as a final target of this rally. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe today. We'll look into a lot more of this tomorrow. And as always, like and subscribe if you like the content. We'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hope you had an incredible weekend as we're back to another week of trading. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. How are you? Hope you
Tired,
had a good
man.
weekend.
Very,
Oh
very
yeah?
tired. But
What'd you have going on?
both kids sick since last week. So they've been
Oh,
they my son got
sorry.
this called head, mouth, and feet.
Oh yeah, I've heard of
The
that.
virus, you heard of
Luckily,
that?
I
Yeah.
didn't
So it's like
experience that.
highly contagious. Didn't even get a fever. The guy was fine for the entire time, but it's highly contagious. So since they both go to the same daycare, they both had to stay home. So I started there. But over the weekend, my daughter did get a lot of fever, and then I decided to also start painting. So you can see my wall there's like half different colors. I want to finish up my
Yeah.
office, and it's just like it was just madness, pure madness. And then leaves. I don't know if you get this, but the leaves, raking
Uh,
leaves. It is
yeah,
just
not
insane.
yet down here, but yes. Hang on, I gotta
Um,
let my dog in.
yeah, go ahead, man. So it's been a wild weekend, but nevertheless, a great one either way. Hopefully, you guys had a good one as well. I see in the chat, um, over in our chat room, I see that is Courtney's birthday. So, Courtney, happy birthday to you, two-star
Happy
general
birthday,
there.
Courtney.
Is that today? I believe it's today. So, happy birthday. Um, all right, guys, let's get into our list this morning over here. Our gappers today looking pretty green so far. So a couple of names that we're very familiar with in the green side of things this morning. So yeah, looking good there. A little bit on the red. So that'll be exciting. Norm, uh let's get to
Oh,
our oh, it's not her birthday. Oh, okay, I thought it was because she says my birthday. I was like, okay, it's your birthday. All right.
eh,
I guess I must have
well,
missed some lines
happy
there.
early birthday then.
Yeah. Um, let's get to the market, Norm. And there's so much going on over the weekend with especially Bitcoin. I caught up on everything.
Yeah,
Just madness
yeah,
going
the
on.
Bitcoin madness and the FTX deal, obviously. Jared summed it up perfectly. Last week it was crazy. Which indeed it was. I mean, we obviously the CPI data came out, and it was a little bit muted. I think we had some election stuff going on. We had Fed speakers all over the place, and we ended up finding some strength at the end of last week. Just on the SPY, we started. We finished what Wednesday down around 373-ish, 374-ish, and we're now at 400 almost. Just a couple days of just crazy action. So we found some strength. I think there's some FOMO, maybe some end of year seasonality coming into play. Don't have a whole lot going on. New York Fed inflation expectations 11 a.m. and Fed Vice Chair speaking at 11:30, I believe. We'll see. We'll see how this shapes up. Are we going to cool off and chill for a minute at this number, or are we gonna keep this going? So, right now we've got the president over. He just finished meeting with President Xi of China, and they are holding a joint press conference that may or may not still be going on. And then we've got a lot of info coming out. PPI tomorrow. We've got Fed speakers continuing to talk throughout the week. Retail sales on Wednesday. On Thursday, of course, jobless claims. So yeah, let's buckle in because it's going to be. I think we're going to continue to see some wild ride.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just as you mentioned, looking at that 374, 397 now, just 3 days later. I mean, three
Ripped.
trading days
Yep,
later. It's just
that's a
insane.
big
So
move for the SPY.
yeah, yeah, it really is. All right, guys, let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. I'm going to go ahead and Control A, Control X this out of here. And that's going to give us a clean sheet to start with this morning here on our watch list. Looking over to what's capping up. Actually, see, it's capping down. It's only one. Let's look at that. GFI. This is down 4% this morning. Had a nice
South
run here.
African gold miner.
Oh,
It's
yeah, it's not the best. Not the
just
best, right? They don't
yeah,
trade very well. Again, nice run here, but for the most part, I personally rather watch something else. Two more just popped up at the same time here. We got Robinhood. which is down 1.8, 167,000. And we have PLTR that showed up. I don't think I ever traded Robinhood. I don't think it's a great intraday trading ticker. Although the last couple of days, what's this drop that they've been getting?
It's tied up in the Sam Bankman-Fried and all that disaster. So that's what's been going on over there.
Oh yeah, yes. Again, big drop there. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of companies and exchanges affected by this. And then PLTR is here. PLTR is down 2.1. Not great volume. Had a big day on Friday, like many tickers did, but for the most part, not great volume. Another one that's a hit or miss. You could tell by the daily too. If you look at these wicks, look how wide they are. Not the best trader. So I'm gonna skip on it, guys. Maybe a possible if that, but for right now, unless there's any news storm that's worth watching this, I'm gonna keep this off my list.
On which one?
On PLTR.
I don't see anything fresh here.
Yeah, so we'll skip that one. Here's the comedy here, comedy ticker, hoodie. Just again, nothing to see there. All right, let's see what's gapping up this morning. Got a 2 on here. ASTS. This is up 18% right now. 400,000 shares traded. The float on this is actually 36, so not low, but on the lower side of things, right? Looks in play today, Norm. Any news?
Well, they have earnings after the bell today, but they had news break early this morning that they've deployed some satellites, largest ever commercial communications array in low Earth orbit. So,
okay. So, yeah, that sounds positive, right? So they're reacting to this pretty good this morning. Normally not a great ticker, but today it looks heavily in place. So let's keep an eye on it.
A couple of things to note on that. While the share, the float isn't low, it's not huge. They've got a 26% short float as well, and not shortable on IB.
Yeah, hard to borrow on IBS, I see here. So will be interesting. You know what? With it not being easy to short, and it might be more of a secondary type play, right? If you don't find anything else, maybe
little
this could be a good one.
Too. 10 cents on a $10 ticker is somewhat of a large spread.
Yeah, that's not great.
So be careful.
Not great at all. Yeah. Let's put it down as possible. Things got to get a little bit better there, but it is in play this morning. SIC here. We saw this last week. How did it actually trade? I know I dismissed it. I didn't want to.
I know Brian traded this.
He did.
On some scalps. Okay. Yeah. This one is a bank, a regional bank involved in crypto. It was getting hit by all the crypto news we were just discussing.
Yeah.
Just be careful on it.
Yeah. So guys, right now, again, up 11.6, 225,000. Traded well. I gotta say, it did trade well Friday. If we can get more days like this, that could be exciting. Let's see. AMC here, they're up 9.7. Good volume, 2.4 million. That is exactly what we want to see. Any news, Storm? They had a couple of good days.
Yeah, well, the CEO, I believe, is actually on CNBC right now.
Okay.
They had earnings a few days ago. What was that? Middle of last week, I guess, beginning of last week. But they're talking about they could buy some movie theaters that are struggling right now. And they had their big release of the Black Panther movie over the weekend. So all that is, and of course, you know, when they're in play, they start to meme.
That's right. So definitely in play this morning. AMC we'll put on our list. Like the volume at the moment, looking really good. Becky making the top of the list here. They are up 9%. So big pop for them on Friday. Looks like they're continuing on that news today as well. So KE Holdings, anything out of that camp?
I don't see anything specific as of this morning. It just note that there's a lot of this China stuff on here, and it has been moving around as news has come out of that meeting in Indonesia between Biden, Asian leaders, and Biden and Xi one-on-one as well.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, these Chinese tickers, you got XBEV, you got JD, and they're all looking pretty strong this morning. Not AMD, well, PDD and NEO. So, guys, pick your favorite. I'm gonna pick Baba and NEO. Those are two good ones. Baba traded great on Friday. If you guys took this for a short, I missed the short. But Andrew took it for a short there, and also Thor. Thor took this for a short, and they did very well. So those are my two Chinese go-to tickers. But if you look at XBEV and JD, they don't look bad. Especially XBEV looks really good this morning. 1.9 million. Actually has similar volume like NEO today, and the pre-market action is actually very decent. So yeah, XBEV could be a good possible actually replacement for NEO if NEO doesn't do anything. But most likely, these are all going to move in the same wave here. JD, we looked at, okay, AMD's on deck this morning. Look at AMD's daily. Nice. Finally broke out of this area, was stuck in the 64 range, 59 or so. Just again, couldn't break out of that. Look at the move we had Thursday and Friday. So yeah, AMD definitely in
They
play.
got some upgrades this morning.
Oh man, well deserved. They're reacting pretty good to all of this right now. Up 3.5, 1 million shares traded. Looking good there. Heading down, we'll skip some of the Chinese tickers we kind of talked about already. DWAC here is, oh, DWAC is back up. Look at this, guys. We had this on our list last week. I forgot, I believe it was Thursday. It might have been Wednesday, who knows. But again, this stuff has been in play. The volume has been dying down. They're popping up here with not great volume. That's the concerning part, right? Only 265,000. They had a couple of really good days here. But again, just the volume is not there, guys. We need more volume on this ticker. Very, very risky. Spread right now, it's not great. Over 20 cents there easily. So you just need volume on it. If you want to trade it, make sure you're getting the volume. I don't see it right now. PBR. PBR this morning, we had it last week. I forgot what the catalyst was. But again, up 2.2. The volume is just not there for me on this one today. So, all right, that covers our gap up list, guys. So everything is taken care of there. Got a couple of good names. AMC, NEO, BABA, and AMD actually are looking pretty good. And if you notice, the common theme on these is they have amazing volume this morning, and some of them with some real good news behind it. Norm, on your end, anything you have that you like?
I mean, some of the plays from last week I think are still going to be great. Meta, Tesla, Amazon. So that's what I've got my eye on.
Yeah.
Amazon, there was something on Amazon. I think it was Bank of America. They still have a buy rating on it, but they took it off their favorites list, whatever the name they call it is. Like, so that's I don't know if it'll do much, but
yeah, that definitely interesting. Yeah, but Amazon has been fun to watch. We knew they were going to eventually pop up here. They did that last week, Thursday and Friday. So we'll see. What's Meta up to? I know Meta is one that has been making a lot of noise lately. So at the moment, not great volume, but I do want to watch what Meta does here. And of course, Tesla. Did we stop dropping here? All right. Just a bloodbath into the end of last week here, or the beginning of last week. Finally recover a little bit. Let's see, guys. Still down 1.6 this morning. 1 million shares traded. Again, definitely in play today. All right, let's take it to the chat room, guys. See what you guys have on both sides. We look at the YouTube and also over in our members chat. If you haven't done so already over on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very, very much as we get ready for the trading day today. So Alberto giving us NEO and BABA. Yes, it could be in play. Absolutely. These are both in play, especially with what Nor mentioned about, the meetings going on overseas. And they got great volume. They look really good this morning. So if more news continues to come out of, that's positive, that could be exciting as well. Liking PM chart on NEO, AMC, and XPEV. Yeah, all three of those on our list. I mean, they all look really good. XPEV I have as a possible, but it looks good. You could replace that with a NEO, so that's looking good there. Disney, daily gap fill. Disney, yeah, I mean, we ran up pretty nice on Friday, guys. Was heavily in play. Had a nice little, $3 pop here. Not doing a whole lot right now in regards to volume. I still think it can be a good secondary. I just don't know if you're going to get this type of momentum. I mean, because think about the move here, guys, right? Thursday, we went all the way from the lows of 87 to 90, then from 90 to 95. That's a big move already. And the gap fill, although it's not filled yet, it's not a whole lot left here. So I just don't know if you're going to get that type of continuation. It's just my my opinion on it. But at least the volume right now is not there. Possible, we could always take a look at it and see if anything develops there. Coin. Yeah, I don't know about these coin thing. Although there's a lot of talks now that, oh, this is the bottom, or like this is what we need if for a big guy
Yeah.
to kind of go bankrupt so we
There's
can get
also
some
talks of other
regulation.
companies getting stuck and hosed. So it could go
Hmm.
either way.
Yeah, and there's I'm sure there's people freaking out. I mean, not sure. We know there's people freaking out because you can see the number of withdrawals and all these things, skyrocketing.
Hmm.
So that's a big problem for liquidity, right? It's not like these are banks where they got the Federal Reserve that can back them up. It's not going to happen here. These guys got to find a way to figure it out. So, um, yeah, could be interesting. Coin right now, a big day on Friday. I think it's going to be so much choppiness on these things today as I try to figure out what's next. I think there's going to be better opportunities with the stuff I have up here that has a more clear direction, right? Long-term investing is a whole different story, but as far as intraday trading, I think these are going to be a better place for me for the way I trade. Just my opinion on that. What else we have, guys? We have coin. We looked at that one. Disney is good. FTX. Yep. Okay. Perfect. All right. What else we have over here? Uh, um, Big Ponzi scheme. I mean, yeah, guys. I mean,
Yeah. Essentially, that's what was going on.
yeah.
I did read something. He was being interviewed by police
Mm-hmm.
either yesterday or this morning. So, I mean,
I'm sure.
got there's some problems I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
have involved there.
More to come out on that. That's for sure. And we've seen other. This is not the first time someone does this. Not the last time someone, pulls this type of stuff to try to get bigger returns. Just got caught. Got caught. When things don't go well, like it has been not going well, you're gonna get caught, and that's the problem. Um, all right, guys. I think we're set. I think our list is pretty decent right now. I don't see anything else unless you guys have something like Apple. We didn't look at Apple today. What is Apple doing? Pretty quiet as far as volume. Not a whole
Yeah.
lot going on. Nvidia, our usual suspects, and even Nvidia. All our big tech seem to be kind of quiet this morning. So yeah, all right. So we'll stick with what we have. Should we short coin? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't just go straight out and start shorting this Bitcoin stuff. No, I mean, look at the move we have Friday.
Yeah,
We're
you'd have
already
been
to
killed on
yeah,
Friday.
already today we're up a little bit, right? So again, you got to see both sides of the coin here. Of the coin, there's one group that feels that this was great because now they can start putting in some regulations of transparency, so people don't get caught, like the way they are. Like there's people that lost serious amounts of money that you're not going to see, right? So you're going to have U.S. regulators step in because they're going to protect the consumer, right? That's the biggest thing. So this could be a good thing for them. So I wouldn't go there saying, hey, show every Bitcoin thing out there. Nah, I wouldn't do that. Be very careful. All right. With that said, guys, let's go over our community events and announcement for this week. Let's go over to bearwithtraders.com/webinar or the homepage and hit the top menu bar, and you'll bring you to what's happening in the next couple of days.
Absolutely. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, you've got Carlos with onboarding and technology. Are you doing that next week, Carlos, with Thanksgiving week, or is that a week off?
No, probably not. Because when we do it, you guys leave me alone, and I feel so bad. So we're gonna reschedule that.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure because that's the one of the few weeks a year, that and Christmas, that we have a light schedule as far as this
Yeah.
stuff outside the chat room goes. But tonight you will have at 8 p.m. Eastern onboarding and technology. Be sure to check that out, especially if you're pretty new to BBT. Tuesdays, we focus on strategy. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., you've got Peter. He's going to be talking about how to create and maintain a trading journal properly. He's got tons of experience with that, so be sure to check him out. And then the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, Andrew talking about his trading room. It's kind of a 30,000-foot view of his trading, his setup, everything involved there. So be sure to check that out as well. Psychology on Wednesdays this week, we have a new guest, Kim Ann Curtin. She's at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. It's talking about the invisible threat to your trading account. And then the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, Randy Howe will be talking about staying disciplined when taking losses. Thursdays, we have mentorship with John at 11 and Thor at 8. Tradingterminal.com. It is our putting a lot of effort into getting this thing ready, guys. This is trying to be something similar to a Bloomberg terminal for for retail traders. So be sure to check it out while you're there. You can also go to the simulator on the left-hand side. We got our scanners in there, heat map, calendar, everything in there. But the simulator and Academy too, where you can take some lessons on specific things. But simulator, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, our free web-based replay simulator to hone your trading skills for free. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't been in the room, you can use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll give you a 1 week access to the room, unless there's a holiday, which if you got it today, there would not be. That is a one-time payment. It does not renew. You have to come back and choose to continue on. And then if you'd like to become an elite member, you can use the promo code READ50 to get half off the elite annual with a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's look into what's happening here on our list and let's kind of put some levels together here. Matt over on YouTube, I'm new to trading. I really like to learn. Anyone have any thoughts on Riot blockchain? I made $200 last week over 3 trades. Lucky. Just be careful. And that's a great question. And the fact that you're realizing that you might have got lucky is very important because that could give you a false expectation, right? So learn, stop. I will stop trading. This is me personally. I'm not giving you any financial advice, but I will stop trading real live money, get on a simulator and learn more about what you're looking to do. Because trust me, it's not going to end well if you don't know what you're doing, because we all can get lucky. Luck for me, I didn't get lucky when I first started trading. I lost $700 like in a couple of days, like 3 days. Then that made me realize, hit the brakes and go understand exactly what it is that you're doing. If I would have made $700, I'll probably felt like, this is easy. Let's keep going. The finger to finger strategy, buy here, sell here, and all this kind of madness, and eventually still crash, right? So just make sure you get the right proper education and you spend time in simulator learning what you're looking to trade, right? So very, very important. BTC is falling hard right now. It's going to be very volatile, guys, for the next couple of well, I don't even know days, I think weeks into this thing. Kind of shakes out, see exactly what was going on. But yeah, look at BTC here. It's just madness. And the worst that could happen is that they start looking at these other ones. There's some more that come out, some big ones, right? Because little ones not as much, but some big ones that's going to affect this big time. So we will see. All right, let's look at XOM. XOM this morning. Somebody mentioned that. Yeah, not a whole lot going on there. Yeah, but BTC, you can see here, Bitcoin just very wild in the last couple of minutes, as you're seeing here. All right, let's get over to our watch list: AMC, NEO, BABA, AMD. We do have Amazon and we have Tesla. So a tight list, but all of these looking extremely good, especially with the volume. Look at AMC here, cranking this morning 3.2 million. So let's take a look at some levels. Right now where the price action is, it's actually sitting right at a daily level. So if you look at this level here around 813, you got a nice area, good support happening there. A little bit of support resistance. You kind of broke through that, but there's some more resistance here as well. We're slamming against that right now. So 813 is your high of your pre-market. If we're able to break out of that, we're going to look over at 88.87, another area on the daily. We see a lot of support as well, and some resistance, but not as much as support there. And then another big level over at 965. So we'll keep that for now right there. Let's see how this thing is going to go. Can we break above 813 to 887, 850? That would be nice to see. We got the volume to do it. It's just can we break through to some higher levels over here? We had a good day Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday, Friday. Right, some pretty nice aggressive days here. Let's see if that's going to continue today. Now towards the bottom, just going to add one level. You do have your levels here, your previous day close, and your highs and lows down here. But over here, 763 is a good area. A lot of resistance happening there as well. So a lot of touches on the daily on that level. I'm going to keep that there as well. All right, let's go over to NEO. So NEO this morning, again, couple of Chinese tickers. You can see them all here on our gappers list. You can also get our gappers list, guys, over at tradingterminal.com, right? So tradingterminal.com, head over to scanners, and you can see this exact same gappers list of what's gapping up, what's gapping down, and you can and see what's going on there. If you look at that list, you're going to see tons of Chinese tickers there. I'm going to pick NEO and BABA. So NEO right now, high of the pre-market, we're sitting at 11.97, and then above that, we're sitting over at 1237. So two good levels there towards the top. I'm going to pick one more just in case we're going to be explosive today. We do have the the volume to be explosive. Let's put here 13 at 19 there for Neo. All right, and then just towards the bottom, I almost skipped it, but again, nothing to see there or nothing to add. You do have your highs and lows already. Previous day close, looking real good. Again, pre-market action this morning, looking very active. Baba, very similar activity as well. We're up 4.3. The volume on Baba today, guys, is real nice. And the great thing about Baba, it can trade well in both directions here. If we do decide to sell off, their sell-off action, and I keep saying this because I've seen it so many times, or we've seen it so many times. They're here in chat, and when we're trading live, it sells off very good. It did that on Friday as well. Not as aggressive, but it sold off pretty nice also. So even if we do decide to drop here, their sell-off action is pretty clean. So I like that as well. 74.64 high of the pre-market, 78.26. Good level here on the daily as well. And if we look up towards the top, we're going to see 81.53, another area where you have a lot of touches as well on the daily, a couple of days opening and closing on that area as well. Towards the bottom, guys, plenty of these stocks towards the bottom are going to have your highs and lows for the last 2 trading days, doing a pretty good job, as we've seen already, because we've been down, right? We've been down quite a bit and bouncing. So these levels are going to be there for you. The only thing I'm going to add, as we're going to do to probably many, is just the low of the pre-market at 71.47. And once you do that, I think you're pretty much set there. LBS, yes, I agree. Baba is a great mover. Yeah, I think Baba does move very well, especially when it's gapping up or down. Right, when it's more on the upside too. I think when it gaps up, it moves much better than when it's gapping down. But it runs well. When it gets the volume, it runs really good. So wasn't like that before. If you guys remember, there was a time Bob was just horrible, very choppy. If you guys remember that, about what 2 years ago, maybe a little more. And like JD was really good, and Billy was much better. So there was some other Chinese tickers that traded much cleaner. But Baba has become definitely one to look at if you want to trade that Chinese ticker. AMD 75.15 high of the pre-market, incredible pop this morning, good volume, 1.2 million. The last couple of days finally breaking out of the 64 level, as we see here. You do have your highs and lows going all the way down to 63.75, so it just kind of shows you the run we had the last 2 trading days. This morning towards the bottom, just going to mark down the low of the pre-market over at 72.80. Once you slam that there, you're set towards the bottom. There you can see the two ranges it was stuck in, this one here and then this one on there, very clear. Now we are pushing up against 75 at the moment, 75.15. If we can break out of that, we do have 78.04, and we also have here 81.37. The funny thing is AMD is the only one, right? If you look at Apple, if you look at Nvidia, those other guys are not doing much compared to what AMD is doing. So that's pretty nice. And Nvidia is starting to heat up a little bit, not towards the upside, but it's starting to pick up some volume there now. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on Nvidia, guys. I'm gonna add that to my secondary list. We'll add Nvidia there because this is another one that can trade very well. All right, so we're set on AMD. Let's take a look at Amazon. Again, finally putting in some green days towards the end of last week. It's been nothing but red, even on the gap ups, which has been selling down all the way down. Can you believe Amazon was at 86, 85.93 just on Wednesday? So big bounce for them, hitting 100 here this morning. As far as levels, I mean, you look closely here, and I don't think you need to add anything else, right? You are pretty set there, guys. So nothing to see there. Cedric, which one is hard to borrow? Can you give me a ticker? So Cedric's letting us know. I think that was that AMC. I'll have to look. 104 level towards the top here, and then another one right up here over at 110.38. So let's see what Amazon does. Again, gap down, sold off, and kind of trying to get back into the swing of things here. AMC, yes, AMC is hard to borrow. Yeah, it is. There's another one too, right? Was it SI? I thought there was another one too on here. No, maybe it was just oh yeah, ASTS, which starting to look a little ugly right now. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see it go flat here and start coming down, losing some of this ground, right? You kind of want to see that ABCD pattern after ABCD pattern. So if it starts doing that, we're not going to be as interested in this ticker. But heading back to AMC, yeah, let's see if we can stay here hitting that 813, that high of the pre-market. It is hard to borrow, but you know what? AMC is one of those tickers that I wouldn't be looking to short. If I trade this, I'm looking for the breakout, right, with volume, right? So I'm always probably looking for a long opportunity. So this doesn't bother me as much on this one. Now, other possible, garbage tickers like a ASTS, it's a whole different story. They might be overreacting a little bit here. Who knows? But AMC, man, if they get going, shorting this thing, you got to be very careful. But thanks for the heads up. Hard to borrow as well. If I find something better, we can move AMC down. But this list looking really good this morning. One to keep an eye on, as I mentioned, is Nvidia. Nvidia's starting to get some volume here. Is there any news on BBBY? Not that I'm aware of. Let's see, BBBY. Oh, what happened? Earnings? I thought they had earnings already. I know we got some big earnings coming up. Jared did mention that, and big thumbs up for Jared every morning, Monday through Thursday, with engineering the markets. He talked about a couple of these guys, right? I believe Home Depot, Walmart is this week. So a couple of big names. They trade okay. Some of them don't, like Home Depot intraday trading. I have never had luck trading Home Depot intraday, right? But they're big movers that it's important to see how it's going to affect the markets, as he explained. Nvidia too. When is Nvidia? That'll be fun. That's gonna be fun. We'll love to see how Nvidia is. Wednesday. Okay, Nvidia will be fun on Wednesday for sure. So BBBY, yeah, big drop here after 840. So heading towards again, just kind of really stuck at this, man. $4. I mean, I just can't see myself trading this thing at $4. That is so low. What is guys waiting for it to go bankrupt? What's happening? What's the situation here? But yeah, man, this is brutal.
Bad.
That is. Did anything new break out, Norm, on this?
Yeah, they just had some news. Headline: BBBY announces additional privately negotiated senior notes exchanges and concurrent price placement. Something kind of like a secondary. Looks like bond market stuff, some debt. So that's just the headline. This, like you said, it's $3 now.
Yeah,
it's just no fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I could trade at this. And the reason is there's nothing really wrong with trading stocks at this price range, right? But typically stocks under $10, their price action is completely different than a stock that's like 25, 30, 40.
I would say there is something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Usually, there's the
for us there is, because we lose money when we trade them.
Well, they trade differently most of the
Yeah.
time, especially under $5. They trade like trash.
Yeah.
It's just a different beast. And
Yeah, I agree, man. So this is definitely in play, guys. Down 7.6, 1.6 million shares traded. But that is not going to be my go-to today to look at something to trade. I'll add it on here, but I'm probably not even going to touch this, to be honest with you guys. I'm probably going to look at my top list, which I have here. All right, guys, we are set. HD has super low volume usually. Yeah, well, on earnings they'll get some volume when they have earnings. When is the earnings? But yeah, for the most part, HD, Walmart, unless there's something huge happening, their volume. Look at this big day here, 7 million, right? Volume is extremely low. So, but again, there's other things, as Jared mentioned, that
earnings tomorrow morning, so they'll be in play tomorrow. But
yeah, there's other things that could be moving with that. Sympathy plays that can be good. So got to be on the lookout how that's going to affect other stuff in the market. All right, guys, did we do all our levels? I think we got kind of sidetracked a little bit. No, actually we did. Amazon is done. Tesla is the one that we're missing. And so far, you do have your highs and lows down here going all the way down to 180. Let's do some stuff above the previous day close here in case we do decide to break out. And big level here at 208. So if you look at 208, have tons of days slamming against that level there. Might be 207, 80, 81. And then there's a minor area, not a huge one, but minor level at 202, 93, right? And then, of course, look out for 200. It's going to be just overall, even a psychological level there. Be on the lookout for that. So that's Tesla. Great volume this morning, down 1.5 as of now. All right, set, guys. I think we are all done here. Any questions, anything we might get into as we wait for our moderators to throw out their list? Got a couple already. And we'll read those in just a second here. So so far. Guys, don't forget over on YouTube, our onboarding class tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So join us there. Go over to the website to sign up. And 8 p.m. we'll go over just our entire community and answer some questions you might have as well. Let's look at some of these thoughts on PDSB. PDSB. Let's see here. PDSB. Let's get the right ticker on the top chart. PDSB. Oh, no. This is not good. This is not good. I mean, it looks, and you got 2.7, right? This looks great. You look at your level 1, you're like, oh wow, this is crushing. And then you come look at this and you see this sideways choppiness, right? And for the most part, they trade horrible. So I don't know. They definitely have some news today or something popping it up here. But I won't be surprised if this comes and slams back down to $6. It's just, it doesn't look like a ticker that has a healthy pre-market activity to keep going here. I could be wrong, but this looks really, really bad as far as into pre-market action at the moment. So something like this I stay away from, guys. You look at the daily, it doesn't trade very well. They're having one day, not even a day. They're having a couple of hours where they're doing something different today. That's popping them up. Biotech company, and you know how these biotechs are. Got to be very careful. And what I don't like about these biotech is when they do this. We've seen this so many times. They pop up, right? They get everybody's attention, hits everybody's scanners, everybody's happy, and then it just goes sideways, right? I don't like that. If you are going to do that, do like at AMC, right? Start getting the volume, and then start doing the ABCD pattern, right? Show me that you're going to break higher and higher and higher. There you have a better opportunity. But when you start doing what this one is doing here, it's risky, and these biotech companies could be so unpredictable. And we did not even look at the spread. What's the spread for this PDSB? No, still on the lower side, 23. So still on the lower side. I would just be careful with this thing. I'm not going to even add it to my list on this one. Is a favorite stock for Norm under $10? I highly doubt that.
No.
Exactly. Whenever I partial, I change my stop. I want to keep the green I've gotten, and I can always get back in. Okay, yeah, that's the way to do it. Always keep that stop, right? That's the way to do it. Carlos, please ask the admin not to block me for today's section. Well, Sid, don't get blocked. Don't get blocked for today's session. What are you saying that you're getting blocked? And don't get. I'm not sure what's happening, but no, don't. We won't don't just randomly block people unless you're doing politics or some inappropriate comment, man. We love everyone in the community here. PTSD is positive phase 2 trial on cervical cancer drug. Oh man, these phases of drug cancer, memory loss, man, they're just brutal. They slam down so aggressive, right? So just be careful. I don't like those catalysts at all. These possible treatment of cancer and stuff that hasn't been able to find a solution for a long time. I stay away from that. I don't even want to. No, be very, very careful. Eventually, and I don't think we're ever going to catch it. Eventually, someone's going to get it right, and this thing is just going to explode, and we probably are going to miss it because we just don't trust it at first. But eventually, hopefully, these biotech companies can get this right and get some real solutions here. Anyone got any tips on choppy days? I always lose on days where the market chops. Daniel, the best tip I can give you that I actually do is, if I get stopped out 3-4 times, 3 times in the same ticker, I just got to stop trading. You just got to stop trading and realize, something is not working today. And for me, that happens very quickly when I'm trying to do a 5-minute ORB. It happens very quickly. So just stop trading. Stop trading. Take a look at the bigger picture, see what the market is doing. Wait for the charts to give you more information, right? I always tell you this, right? Every candle that happens is adding to the story. So if the story looks horrible, right? So if you look back and nothing's happening, give it time. Give it time. Sometimes even waiting an hour, man, and you'd be surprised how good that can do you. But it's hard, right? It's hard as a trader. I'm here sitting down to trade, and you're telling me to stop trading. It's unfortunate, but yes, You got to stop trading when things are choppy. For example, Brian and Norm were talking about this last week. On days where the market gaps up huge pre-market, right, are tough days for them. And Norm, correct me if I'm wrong, because you don't have a lot more to run, so it becomes a little choppier than usual.
Yeah,
Right?
it's largely psychological. I mean, and I
Yeah.
mentioned that last week, but when we had the first super strong day on Thursday of last week,
Yeah.
was it Thursday?
Thursday.
Anyway,
Yeah.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
it
Thursday.
was
Thursday.
CPI day.
Mhm.
We had a
Look at the run.
massive gap up all of a sudden in the pre-market. My brain's telling me it's extended,
Yeah.
and don't chase, and or my my inner self is saying that. My brain is just saying the market's super strong. So I find it difficult. Yes.
Yeah. Hardest thing about being a trader, guys, is knowing when not to trade. And my trades have dropped so drastically. I don't know about you, but when I first started trading, I went from like 10 trades a day to about 2 or 3 now, if that, right? So you become very selective now. And I'm saying 2 or 3 actual tickers, right? In one trade, I could have like 5 partials, right? So not actual number of tickets, but actual number of trades on a stock has dropped huge, right? Because you start being a lot pickier on what you are really going to trade. You know what you like, you know what you're good at, what you're not good at, and that's important. So keeping that journal and all that is critical. All right, guys, 9:13, 2 minutes left. Let me go over to our moderators lineup. Let's see what's going on here and see what our friends are watching this morning. So we're going to go ahead and resize this a little bit. As I'm doing this, so do not forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. Join us over on YouTube. Onboarding class tonight. Join us for that. And also hit that thumbs up. It helps us out a ton here. So we appreciate that a bunch. Okay, let's take a look here. We have Peter. Peter's looking at no IPOs, no SPACs for today, by the way. But Peter's looking at AMD, Apple, BABA, secondary list Tesla, Amazon, and Oxy. And then Jared will be looking at NVIDIA, Tesla, Apple, Zoom on his secondary list, SQ, and Roku. And then the dumpster dive, speculative, ASTS, PSNY, AMC, and GameStop. So yeah, these got to be very careful. Very risky stuff there. Thor, Baba, AMD, Pivot, Alertbot, and Megan will be looking at Amazon and Shopify this morning. So that's what we have, guys. Thank you so much over on YouTube for joining us. Again, we will see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. if you haven't joined the onboarding class. And we will see you, if not, we'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. with Jared, engineering the markets, guys. He goes over high-level stuff at the beginning, and then he dives into a little more detail as the session progresses. So don't miss it, guys. 8 a.m. And then Norm and I will join you at 8:30 to do the same thing we just did now. And we do this every day. Every day. So don't miss it, guys.
Except for Saturdays and Sundays. I take those off.
Yeah, you know what? Every market day. I want to take those off too. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great day.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.